Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Mrs. G. In this video, we are going to be looking at the Social Studies 2016 Paper 2. Let's get to it. Alright, so for Paper 2, there are three sections. There's Section A, which involves individual, family, and society, where you are going to choose two of those questions. Then you have Section B, which requires you to choose one question from part 1 and another question from part 2. And then you have Section C, where you are going to choose only one question to do. So we are going to start off with Section A. So Section A is from individual, family, and society. So how you do Section A, since you are answering two questions from this section, the first thing you need to do is to look through the three questions that are there. And then you're going to look for the one that you are best at. Don't just look at the first question that is probably at 2 marks. Look through the questions themselves to see which parts of the question has the most marks, and then based on the ones that you can answer the best, you choose that particular question and then you start writing. Don't just look at section A and just start writing right away. Alright, so if it is under exam conditions, that is exactly what you would do. Look through the entire section first, select your questions, and then you begin. So for this section as well, for all of the paper, you are required to write your answers in complete sentences. So don't just run straight into the answer, just formulate it in a complete sentence and write it down. Another important thing that you must look at for section A, you must look at the verbs that is in each question and the amount of marks that is allotted to each question. For example, in question number 1A, it says to define. The verb define means that you're simply giving a definition. You're telling what something means. And to do that, it will give you a total of 2 marks. So basically, the verb would match the amount of marks that you're going to get. A lot of the time, students make mistakes, so they ask you to give a definition, but instead you're giving a full explanation and it takes up a lot of your time. Sometimes they ask you to explain something, but you only give a definition alone, so you would have lost marks. So it is very important for you to pay attention to the verb that is in the actual question, as well as the amount of marks for each question. So let's begin. Define the term bigamy. Remember that you're writing this in a sentence, so you would start it off as how you would write it in a sentence. So you could say the term bigamy refers to, or you can say bigamy can be defined as, and then you give your answer. So bigamy is actually an offense of marrying more than one person at the same time. Okay, so we could say the term bigamy refers to the offense of marrying someone while still married to another person. Another instruction that was given by CXC is that you should not write outside of the lines. Outside of the lines here. So they give you additional paper if you need more space, right? So define the term bigamy. The term bigamy refers to the offense of marrying someone while still married to another person. That would have gotten you your 2 marks. Let us go to letter B. State 2 factors that may cause newly married couples to delay parenthood. So the verb in this one says that you're supposed to state. If you're stating something, you're just telling me what it is. And you are going to give 2 factors that may cause newly married couples to delay parenthood. Newly married couples. So that's persons who just got married to delay parenthood. Delaying means to put off. So you have to also try to understand the questions, because you may know the answer, you may know the content, but you write the wrong thing because you don't understand the question. So what this means, you are going to be writing down 2 things that may cause people who just got married to put off having children, to put off being parents at the same time. So that can be several things. So let us just list them over here at first. Persons who just got married may put off having children because 1, they are not financially ready. They're not financially able to maintain a child. Another thing that could cause newly married couples to delay parenthood, think about it, put yourself in the position. That's the thing with social studies. It is social studies, so you're basically studying society. So you can think about what your parents would have done, what other family members would have done, what you would have done yourself, and it would assist you in coming up with appropriate responses in order to fully get the marks that is given in this particular sentence, in this particular question. Notice as well that for this one, it is 2 marks and it is asking you for 2 factors. So this is 1 mark and this is also 1 mark. That means you don't need to go ahead and write in a long epistle for this particular section. All right. So factors that may cause newly married couples to delay parenthood. 1, you're not financially able to maintain a child. 2, you may not be emotionally ready. So parents are not emotionally ready. To handle the responsibilities of parenthood. If you can think of any others, you can just go right ahead and write them in the comment section below. That would be awesome. Someone else would benefit from your response. Maybe someone can easily identify with one of the factors that you put in the comment section, so it would be easier for them to remember it on the exam, right? While you're doing that, please ensure that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, so each time we post something, you will be able to see what is posted so that you can benefit from it. All right, continuing. So financially able to maintain a child. Let me say not financially able to maintain a child, so they will put off having children. The parents are not emotionally ready to handle the responsibilities of parenthood. Also, it may mean that parents are not living in a situation that allows them to have children. It could also be a situation where the parents are sick. One of the parents may be sick at the moment and they are unable physically to bear a child, so they may delay parenthood. It may also mean that one of the parents or both parents, they are still studying, or they may have made a decision that they would like to travel the world before they have children, all of those things. So we have 2 written here, so we would just write them in sentences in the spaces that have been provided. So how you would write it in a sentence? You could say that newly married couples may delay parenthood, because, and then you just write in your response, because they are not financially able to maintain a child. So that would be in a sentence, and it would also give the specific response that is needed to give you the 1 mark. We could do the second one similarly. Newly married couples may delay parenthood. just for, let's write it just the same. Newly married couples may delay parenthood because they are not emotionally emotionally ready to handle the responsibilities of being a parent. Again, please, if you can think of any others that we have not mentioned, please go ahead and write them in the comment section below so that we can see them. If you're thinking of something that you're not sure if it is correct, please write it in the comment section as well, and I will go ahead and respond to you. Ensure that you subscribe to the channel and like the video if you'd like to see more like this one. Alright, so the next question says, outline 2 reasons why emotional readiness is necessary for good parenting. Now, the verb in this particular sentence, it asks you to outline. When you're outlining something, think about it. When you're outlining something, you are basically giving steps. You're telling how it works. You're laying it out. So that is what they're asking you to do. And this is for 4 marks, and you're required to do 2 of them. So that means this one would be 2 marks, and this one would also give you 2 marks. So you need to ensure that you get your full 2 marks in both sections. All right? So outline 2 reasons why emotional readiness is necessary for good parenting. What this question is asking you, you're going to give 2 things. You're going to tell 2 things, tell 2 reasons. Why emotional readiness? Why is it that people need to be emotionally ready, emotionally prepared in order for them to be good parents? So we know how parenting is. As I said before, sometimes you may meet upon a question, you don't know the answer right off the bat, you don't remember exactly what was done in your classes. Social studies, you're studying society. So you can think of your own situation, think of a person that you know, think of your own parents to be able to formulate your responses on your own. So what are some of the things that parenting would entail that would require parents to be emotionally ready for it? What is it about parenting that requires somebody to be emotionally ready? So that is the question. And you're going to give 2 reasons why they need to be emotionally ready in order to be good parents. So first of all, let us write them over this section here. Parenting requires patience. Let me just write it in this section. All right, so we would write it in a sentence. Emotional readiness is necessary for good parenting because parenting requires patience to deal with. What are we dealing with? What if you're a student, if you're a high school student, what is it that your parents have to deal with that would require them to be patient? If you are an adult, think about it. You probably have children of your own. What is it that you would require patience in order to deal with where your children are concerned? Right? So emotional readiness is necessary for good parenting because parenting requires patience to deal with the challenges of handling children. Parents will need to remain calm and think through situations. All right, let me just point something out. Notice for the question that was before that asked us to state, all we did, we told exactly what it is that we were required to tell. The question above that was to define, so all we did, we gave the definition. Now this question asked us to outline. So we told what it is, and then we went a little further to explain what we're talking about. Not a long explanation, just to give another step basically. So emotional readiness is necessary for good parenting because parenting requires patience to deal with the challenges of handling children. Parents will need to remain calm and think through situations. If you have space, you can say think through situations before making a decision. Things like that, right? Another reason why emotional readiness is necessary for good parenting is that parents need to be able to understand and cater to the needs of the children of different ages. So they have to be able to do that as well. That requires emotional readiness. It requires a lot to be a parent, so you need to be emotionally ready to face all of that. So we can also write as well. I'm just going to show you another way how you can write it in a sentence. Good parenting requires emotional readiness so that parents are psychologically equipped to understand and cater to the needs of their child or children. Let me just say children. Of their children at different ages. So that would also give you your 2 marks for this section here. So we would have outlined 2 reasons why emotional readiness is necessary for good parenting. If you can think of any other reason that we have not mentioned any at all that you think may assist someone else, please write it in the comment section below. Also, if you have a question about another one that you would like to put but you're not very sure, you can also type it in the comment section below and we will certainly respond. Again, subscribe to the channel so that once we post something, you will be able to know that it is posted and you will have access to it. Continuing to the next question. Suggest giving full details 3 strategies which parents may use to encourage their children to communicate with them. All right, so letter C carries the most marks. So this one is 6 marks and this one is 6 marks. So that is 12 full marks out of the 20 that is allotted for question 1. So when you're looking through and selecting your questions, if you get to this point and you realize that you don't know how to answer the 12-mark question, it's best that you do not choose that particular question in the first place because this is where most of your marks will come from. All right? So it's very important to ensure that you understand this section and you answer it properly. So let us look through. It says, suggest giving full details 3 strategies which parents may use to encourage their children to communicate with them. So, 3 things which parents may use, 3 things that parents can do. That's what it is asking you. What are 3 things that parents can do to encourage their children to communicate with them or to encourage their children to talk to them, right? This can be easy if you are a teenager, if you are in school. What is it that your mother or your father can do to encourage you to communicate with them? That's what they're asking. So that's the first section. And you're going to give full details of 3 things that they can do. So you're not going to just write that they can give me money. That would not be giving full details. You would have to explain, you'd have to be talking about it, giving full details as to the strategy. How exactly would they encourage you? How exactly would they cause you to communicate with them? So that is what is required for the first section. Now, a lot of persons lose marks at this section because you end up putting a part of 2 into 1. So let us look at 2 before we start answering 1 any at all. So 2 says, explain fully why each strategy that you mentioned up here is likely to be successful. That is your justification. Justification means you are telling why will this strategy work. That is all they are asking you. Why is it that the strategy that you gave me up here so is going to work? Why is it that your strategy that you gave me up here is going to be successful? That is all they're asking. So you're going to give me a strategy up here. And then you're going to tell me why that strategy will work, why that strategy will ensure that the child communicates with the parent. So that is what they're asking. And you're going to do this 3 different times. So notice it gives you space for strategy 1, justification 1. Strategy 2, justification 2. Then strategy 3, justification 3. And that would have been the end of question 1. So let us just go through them starting at strategy 1. So for the first strategy, the parent can build an emotional connection with the child. So this emotional connection, remember that the question asks us to give full details. So if we're going to say that the parent can build an emotional connection with the child, basically we're going to have to talk about how that is going to be possible, how that is going to be happening. So we can say that from a young age, the parent can build an emotional connection with the child by communicating with them, talking to them about their day, expecting that the child is going to tell them about their day, asking them questions about their day that will facilitate early communication as well as that emotional bonding. So once that is done, then we would go to justification and explain why the strategy that we mentioned above is likely to be successful. So then we would be required to write that. So we can't remember we're writing in full sentences. So we can say that parents can encourage communication with their children by developing an early emotional bond. So if we were to leave it like that, we would have just been stating and we would not have gotten the full marks, right? So we need to continue talking about it. So parents can encourage communication with their children by developing an early emotional bond. This could be done, so we're giving full details now. This could be done from the early years of the child's life where the parent models good communication with the child by sharing information by sharing information about themselves and asking the child to do the same. I figure that you would have written smaller. I'm just writing, so it might be a little bigger. So you would have had a little more space, right? So the first strategy is that parents can encourage communication with their children by developing an early emotional bond. This could be done from the early years of the child's life, where the parent models good communication with the child by sharing information about themselves and asking the child to do the same. So now I'm going to explain why this strategy is likely to be successful. So the question says, explain fully why each strategy you suggested is likely to be successful. So why is it that that strategy that I mentioned is likely to work? So this strategy is likely to be successful because an early emotional bond sets the stage for later in the child's life. This makes it easier for children to engage in difficult conversations with their parents. The bond would also make it easier for parents to realize when something is wrong. And the parents would then ask, and because they would have already had that bond, it would have been easier for the child to go ahead and do the communication. Right? So we can try to add that as well. This makes it easier for children to engage in difficult conversation with their parents. And parents are more likely to get responses when they ask these questions, when they ask, no, let me say when they identify, just for space, when they identify a problem. Good. So this strategy is likely to be successful because an early emotional bond sets the stage for later in the child's life. This makes it easier for children to engage in difficult conversations with their parents, and parents are more likely to get responses when they identify a problem. So that is why my strategy that I mentioned up top is likely to work. So remember that it is 6 marks. So far for this one, this would have been 2 marks. That is for the first one up here. So this is 6 marks and they're asking us to do 3 things. So each of the things would have been 3 marks. And then for the justification, they're asking us to do 3 things as well. So each of that would have been 6 marks. So by the time we're finished, then we would have gotten the full 12 marks that is there. So that would have been 2 marks so far. This would also be 2 marks. So for strategy number 2 now, the other strategy that we could say is that parents need to show interest in what their child is interested in. Think about it. You as a child, you would consider your parent to be cool or, I don't know, lit. You would consider your parent to be cool if they knew about the things that you know about, if they are able to talk about the same type of music that you talk about, if they are able to talk about the same type of games that you play, if they are able to talk about the same type of fashion that you're interested in, you would consider your parents to be cool. So you would now find it easier to communicate with them about things. It would make communication easier. You'd be more interested in communicating with them about things. If it's not that way, you may already just think in your mind that, oh, they won't understand. So as a result of that, it already blocks off the communication. So that is our second strategy that we're going to be talking about. So parents can show interest, If you can think of another way that you would have written this, or think of another strategy that you would have used, type it in the comment section below. Let us have a conversation about it, and we'll see how it works out. So parents can show interest in the activities that their child engages in, and become knowledgeable about them. Any effort to bridge the generation gap could assist with communication. Parents can learn about music, games, fashion, and technologies that are of interest to the child. Alright, so parents can show interest in the activities that their child engage in and become knowledgeable about them. Any effort to bridge the generation gap could assist with communication. Parents can learn about music, games, fashion, and technologies that are of interest to their child. Remember, in the strategy section, you're just telling what can happen, but in the justification section, you are telling why it is likely to work. All right, so this is what parents can do. Down at the bottom is why it is likely to work. So that's for the justification. So for what we just mentioned now, for parents getting involved, learning about the music, games, fashion, whatever it is that the child is interested in, why is this likely to work? So why is this likely to be successful? This is likely to be successful because communication becomes easier when people have things in common. Once the parent shows interest in the child's interest, it creates room for communication to take place. It creates room for communication to take place. This would be the start of bridging the generation gap. And then that would have been your answer. So there's not one single way to explain these things. So if you have another way, if you have another option that you'd like to share, please go ahead and mention it in the comment section below. Please subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications on so that you can get an update every time a video is posted. Also, there is an entire social studies playlist that you can click to ensure that you see all of the social studies videos that have been uploaded. So justification 2, this is likely to be successful because communication becomes easier when people have things in common. Once the parent shows interest in the child's interest, comma, it creates room for communication to take place. This would be the start of bridging the generation gap. And then our final strategy now, you want to create a environment that is conducive to communication. So some children will just not talk to their parents because you go get a lick, you go get rush, cussing is going to start. So the environment is already not conducive, it's inconducive for communication to take place. So something may happen and the child knows that if I tell mommy, she's just gonna cuss me. So right away, communication is blocked off. The child will not say anything to the parent. So parents then must create a healthy, peaceful environment that facilitates easy communication. So that would have been our third strategy. So parents can create a healthy and peaceful environment that facilitates easy communication. This environment could be one that is violence-free, with reduced noise, that would set the stage for a child to engage in conversations with their parents. Alright, so parents can create a healthy and peaceful environment that facilitates easy communication. This environment could be one that is violence-free with reduced noise that would set the stage for a child to engage in conversations with their parents. So that would be my strategy for the justification now. Again, justification means why is this likely to work? Why is this likely to be successful? We are going to just explain why it is likely that this will work. So with the absence of distractions and with the absence of fear, children are more likely to communicate with a parent. Children are more likely to open up with a parent once the environment is conducive. So we're going to explain that. So this is likely to be successful. This is likely to be successful because children are more likely to communicate and initiate conversations, INITIATE, conversations with their parents if they are not fearful of the outcome. Fearful of the outcome. They will be more likely to share if the environment is without noise and lack distractions. So this is likely to be successful because children are more likely to communicate and initiate conversations with their parents if they are not fearful of the outcome. They will be more likely to share if the environment is without noise and lack distractions. So that is the justification that is explaining why it is that the strategy that has been mentioned above is likely to work. So this would have been another 2 marks. Would have been another 2 marks. So that would finalize the 12 marks for letter C, which would have given us 20 marks for the first question. So we would have completed the first question there, then you would have moved on to the second question that you chose. If you would like to continue to see the responses for the other questions, please ensure that you mention that in the comments section below so that we can know that you are interested, so that we can know that you would like to see more videos like these, so that we can go ahead and assist you and ensure that we keep providing the videos. Please subscribe to the channel so that we also know that you're interested. Turn your post notifications on so that each time we post something, you will be notified, so you will know exactly what is happening. You will not miss out on anything. For easier access and asking questions and getting responses, you can find us on Instagram at natken_educational_services. You can also find us on Facebook at Natken Education. You can go ahead, follow us on those 2 platforms, and just subscribe to the channel, send a message, reach out, and we will be happy to respond to you. Thank you so much for watching. It is always a pleasure to assist you.